This story came so close to being a funny, light-hearted little anecdote that I could tell my friends in a loud, exaggerated voice, but that's not what happened. I'm still reeling a little bit from the experience, and I know that part of my brain is just trying so hard to forget exactly what it was that I saw that afternoon. I'm trying to explain it, I'm trying to deny it, and I'm trying to convince myself that everything is just okay. I think I might be going crazy. Actually, I hope I'm going crazy, but deep down, I don't think I am. This whole thing happened about 3 months ago. It's my senior year of high school, and part of our graduation requirements in this school district is we have to do 3 hours minimum of community service. Now, I know, 3 hours is nothing. Of course, I had put my 3 hours off until the last possible second, like the lazy shit that I am. So here it is, the very last day before I had to turn in my form and all evidence, or else I risk failing my civics class. And that means I won't graduate, which means I'll be in summer school just for 3 hours of community service. So here's what I did. I grabbed 2 large black trash bags, some gloves, my phone, and I take off to the local hiking trails. You know, I figure spending a few hours in the woods picking up beer cans and cigarette butts, and that might be enough to bullshit my teacher. Now, I live in a country area that's surrounded by woods, but there are 2 big trails that I can reach by foot. Now, one leads to my school, and the other leads to this large creek just off the highway. Now, that one takes a little longer to get to, but everybody goes fishing there, and people like to build fires, camp out on the water. So I figure that'll be the best place to get a lot of trash to pick up. It was late February at the time, and winter was still a pain in the ass. The snow from the recent snowstorm had melted enough for me to get my work done, though. I just hoped there'd be enough litter remaining to count for my bullshit service. So I tossed on my jacket, called my mom to let her know where I'd be, in case I get mauled by a bear. And I took off. The weather was shitty, to say the least. The ground was wet and muddy from the melted snow, and it was cold as death. So I just moved as quickly as I could. Now, I didn't see much trash until I got to the pond. Checking all the fishing spots, I picked up some broken bottles and some whiskey bottles and some half-empty Gatorades. Best way to ward off a hangover. There are bags of Doritos and fishing line. Even saw some shotgun shells. So making my way around the water, I noticed some footprints in the mud. Some were human, and some were those of a large dog. Now, it's not a big deal. People like to fish with their dogs. Or they'd like to walk them on that trail. Hell, I'd even seen a couple that day. One in particular standing out. This guy was wearing all camo, and he always had a rifle at his side. Now, I'd seen him a few times. Always had this big German Shepherd with him. Now, he was creepy looking, but he was friendly enough. I mean, the only time I'd ever actually spoken to him, he just seemed like a hunter that was poaching some deer. I mean, this is an area of the forest where you're not allowed to hunt. So every time I'd come across footsteps, I would think of him. So there I am, walking through the woods completely alone. And I begin to pick up more and more bits of trash. A broken pregnancy test, the hilt of a knife, and as soon as I get to where the dirt road connects to the paved road, this old rusted pickup tears off down the gravel road onto the highway. Scared the shit out of me. After about an hour, I'm at the end of the trail, down to the main area of the pond. And there's this sign detailing all the shit you can and can't do. So now I'm back at the beginning, and I don't have nowhere near enough trash. So I go down the one path in the woods that I'd yet to explore fully. Now, this is a spot that looks like it was made for trucks to drive on. It's overgrown and no one ever walks down there. But, fuck, I'm desperate. So a little down the road, off in the distance, I see 2 or 3 blue and green trash bags slumped together in a heap. Now, I just figured jackpot. For the picture evidence I'm supposed to submit, it's gonna look like I gathered those bags of trash, rather than just found them. So naturally, I go for it. Approaching the trash, I noticed they were dog food bags. And the tops were closed up with those thick rubber bands that I think they're industrial, but they're really good for making slingshots. So I brush some of the snow off of them, and I go to pick up the first one, but damn, it's heavy. Like, really heavy. So naturally, being young and curious, I opened it up. As soon as I slid the rubber band off, I knew that something was wrong. Like, really, really wrong. This fucking smell just slapped me in the face. It's like the smell of rot or spoiled ham. Now, this did not smell fresh. So, I get the bag open and I can't recognize what's in there. It's like black and red and brown, and I see this white piece of wood sticking out of the pulp. I guess you'd call it pulp. Well, that white piece of wood, turns out it was bone. They were large bones, easily the size of my leg. And they're all shoved together in that bag. And the bag's also filled with that decaying carcass of something. Something large. And that's when I look at my feet. So now it's not just what's in the bags. I'm standing on top of something. Looks like a rib cage. Just barely sticking out of the snow. Yep. That's a fucking rib cage. So, naturally, being the tough guy that I am, I freak the hell out. And I take off running. Down the trail, all the way back to the creek. And then I hide behind the sign. The one that says what you can and can't do. And I'm hiding back there for a good 2-3 minutes before I think to pull out my phone and call 911. So I tell them what I found. I tell them where I'm at. And they say they'll send a state trooper right over. Just wait there for them. They're sending someone right now. Yeah, it took over half an hour for the man to finally get there. And the whole time I'm waiting, I'm just getting more and more freaked out. Every time a car drives on the highway. I pissed myself a little bit. Because I know for a fact that whoever put that stuff there was going to come back, shoot me, cut me up, and stuff me into a dog food bag. Yeah, I was a real tough guy. I prayed to God they were animal bones. I tried to calm myself down. Told myself I was overreacting. So when the trooper arrived, stepped out of his vehicle and took one look at the bones, he tells me people come there to dump deer carcasses all the time. Mostly poachers. And I instantly felt both relieved and stupid. I apologized, told him I was stupid, I'd overreacted. Yeah, he was a gruff guy, wearing the light brown uniform and the hat like in the movies. And he didn't really seem that tolerant of my fuck up. He just kind of mumbled to himself, pissed off. But he was an officer, and I guess I trusted him. I asked him for a ride home, because it's cold, I've been waiting forever, and I just don't want to walk. He ignored me, got in his car, and drove off. Tired, pissed off, wet, shivering. I just said, fuck it. Figured I'd flunk my assignment, and I just wanted to go home. I'll figure out a way to fake it. So I'm walking down the trail back home, and then my phone rings. I was almost out of the woods, and when I answer it, it's the state troopers' barracks. They tell me they sent someone to the place, and I wasn't there when he arrived. So he went to the place where I said the bags were, and he saw nothing. My heart dropped, my bowels churned, and I started sweating. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to think. So I just started stuttering. Everything's okay. I was confused. I apologized for wasting their time, and just as the lady on the phone starts to rip me a new one, I hung up on her. Who the motherfuck had I spoken to? What the fuck happened to the bones? Surely they were just deer bones, right? Maybe that man noticed me there and took them away before the real cops got there. 'Cause, I mean, he was poaching. They were illegal deers. I had no clue what to think. And the questions just kept buzzing, shaking around in my skull. And I struggled for an answer. Finally, I was able to explain to myself what happened, in terms that I could settle on without making myself panic. But that was when I saw it. What was in the middle of my path. Right in front of me, sitting in the dirt and snow, it was a jawbone. A human jawbone. Now, there was no denying this. That was not a deer's jawbone. So I ran. I ran as fast as I could, all the way home, covered in sweat, mud, probably piss and tears. I was completely and utterly at a loss. I had no clue what to do, what to say. So, naturally, I did and said nothing. I just figured that if I put it in the back of my head and ignored it, then it would all go away. But it didn't. Not completely. So I feel like I gotta share this with you now. Because lately, at night, when everyone else is asleep, I can hear the faint echoes of gunfire coming from the woods. I'm so scared that it's not deer hunters.